I heard about Ethan, a dark, brown-haired man broached on my terminal in my living room a few days later. How is that going? It has got to be a lot to handle with you coming back from captivity and now serving with your ex. Dr. Mitchell Mitch Dakota, my friend Colonel Jess, a master psychiatrist aboard the USS Liberty, wore his hair long on top and short in the back. His beard and mustache, neatly trimmed. His face, oval and the color of ivory. I could see the diplomas on his walls behind him and the sound of water tracks he used to calm his patients. He turned in his seat and steepled his fingers together in a judicial manner. It would be one thing if he were just dead. I could have dealt with that. As federal agents and Freedom Alliance officers, I leaned back on my white, L-shaped couch and put the black throw pillows behind my back. We deal with death all the time, but he got married 20 years ago and didn't tell me. Wow. From what I know about you, Alex, I'm guessing you are questioning your relationship with Ethan. You are probably wondering what else he hid from you and why. I frowned and nodded. Unfortunately, that is not all he kept from me. His wife and him had a daughter. She is 15. He believed the WPP got his wife killed and that his daughter was in danger. He could have told me. I could have helped. Especially since I am the one he chose to clean up the mess now. He glanced at me. Clean it up how? His attorney contacted me. Ethan left me 2 things, his daughter, I am her godmother, by the way, and a case he wanted me to finish. I know him. He wants me to solve his wife and his murders. Isn't that the case you are assigned? Ethan's murder case? I nodded and added, but I have the feeling there is more to it. Ethan didn't want his family knowing he had a daughter. He still does not want them having contact with Samantha. That's her name. You have stated the facts, Mitch persisted, turning in his chair, but how are you feeling about all that is happening? He leaned forward, resting his chin on his hands. How are you feeling about Ethan's death? About Ethan being murdered? About Dr. Morgan being on board? Is it bringing up memories for you of? Just then the doors chimed. We will have to discuss this next time, I revealed, catching his eye. I have visitors at my doors. I am suspecting it is Ethan's lawyer and daughter. He put up his finger and said with grave deliberation, okay, but we will discuss this, and one more thing, Graham knows you are seeing me. I had to tell him because he was considering putting you on leave until you saw someone professionally. I nodded and decided, it probably is best he knows. Talk to you Friday. Friday? Give yourself grace, Alex. You deserve it. Then he disappeared from the screen. I stood and navigated my way around the black-framed, glass coffee table and the bottom portion of the L of the couch and put my hand to the side panel next to the doors. The entrance slid open to reveal a woman with skin the color of a freshly brewed cappuccino with long ombre dreadlocks hung to one side. She wore a black jumpsuit underneath a pea green, ankle-length cover with a flowery print. I noticed a young girl leaning against the back wall of the corridor. She possessed long, chestnut-brown hair that reached her chest, strawberry and cream skin that formed her heart-shaped face and soft, light green eyes. She wore a black, turtleneck and jeans paired with black boots. A gold locket hung on a chain around her neck. You must be Tatiana Valentine, I greeted. When I saw her nod, I thrust out my hand and insisted, I am Colonel Alexandra Madrid. Most people call me Alex. We shook hands before I motioned her inside my quarters. Come inside too, Samantha. Tatiana entered. When Samantha hesitated, I questioned, has anyone told you that you have your dad's mouth and nose? She shook her head and looked up at me. Your dad, when he was about your age, broke his nose, playing football with me. Your grandmother was so mad at him, and me. I could see her lips inching into a smile at the edges. I am Alex Madrid, by the way. Samantha headed into the living room and motioned to the locket. She opened it and showed it to me. Inside, on the right side, I noticed Ethan and a red-haired woman who I assumed to be Scarlett. On the left side, I saw a picture of me and the twins. You knew I was your godmother? She nodded. Tatiana took a seat on the couch and told me, she has not been talking since she found out about her dad. I closed the gap between Samantha and me. I get it, you know. The urge to stop talking when my world is crashing apart. I put my arm around her and pulled her close to me. I'm going to miss your dad. He and I grew up together. I know what it is like to lose someone very close to you. It feels like you are never going to recover. I put my chin on her head. You are safe here. If you need to cry, if you need to get angry, if you just want to be quiet, we are here for you. I spotted Dax hanging out by the hallway. I motioned her over to me. I broke away from Samantha and introduced, this is my daughter, Dakota. We call her Dax. She will show you to your room. Your luggage arrived yesterday. It is in your closet. As I watched them head down the corridor, I turned to Tatiana. You are amazing with her, she observed, laying her quan pad on the coffee table. She didn't say anything. I came around the coffee table and sat. No, but anyone else who has tried to hug her like you did got pushed away literally, and she screamed bloody murder. I had no idea. I did not want to scare you off. She has been a brilliant student, a well-behaved child, until now. Ethan was specific. He wanted you to raise her whether you solve the case or not. He does not want her to be raised the same way you both were. I can understand that, but what about after I solve the case, can his parents see and get to know her then? As much as I hate what they have put Ethan and I through, I can't stand the thought of Aiden and London not getting to know their granddaughter even more. He said that was up to you, but he made it clear they were not to raise her. I nodded and then leaned back on the couch. I am already on the case to solve his murder. Let me guess, he thought there was a leak in the WPP that got Scarlett killed, and when he started investigating, the person made threats against his and Samantha's lives. Tatiana's sky-blue eyes widened. I thought Ethan didn't tell you. He didn't. I have a friend of a friend who runs a club in DC, where the DC elite come to drink and talk. Any information the owner finds useful to the IAB, he passes along. The fact that people are already talking is what worries me. I do not think we have a lot of time before they make an attempt on Samantha's life. You need to back off of this. You have to let my partner and I handle this. Keeping people safe is our job. You handle the legal aspects. We will handle solving this. I saw her open her mouth to protest when I put up my hand. You want to help. I get that, but I cannot have any more lives in danger. She handed me the Quan pad. What you need to know is on there. Samantha's medical records are on there too. You need to read them. I'm going to stay aboard for 3 more days. She stood, moved around the furniture and toward the doors. Read them and then get back to me with your questions. She turned to look at me. And you will have questions. Then she proceeded out the doors. What did that mean? What about Samantha's medical records would make me have questions?